Remember that feeling of discovery in school, learning new facts that shaped your understanding of the world. Well, prepare for a dose of reality, because today we're pulling back the curtain on some fundamental truths you were probably taught that are, in fact, scientifically wrong. It's a surprising truth. Every year, millions of students around the globe unknowingly carry home outdated, or even downright incorrect, ideas straight from the classroom. Some of these myths might seem harmless, easy to teach, and comforting in their simplicity. But here's the kicker. Science doesn't stand still. New research is constantly rewriting what was once believed to be absolute fact. When schools fail to keep up, entire generations grow up repeating misconceptions that were debunked decades ago. So, buckle up, because your understanding of the world might be about to get a serious upgrade. Let's expose the 6 things still taught in schools that are scientifically wrong. Myth number 1. The only 5 senses trap. First up, a classic. Generations of children learn to recite the 5 senses: sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. It's a neat, tidy little list, right? Sounds complete. Well, prepare for a sensory overload, because this idea completely ignores many other crucial senses that the human body depends on daily, every single moment. Think about it. How do you stay upright without looking at your feet? That's your sense of equilibrium, or balance. How do you know where your arm is without actually seeing it? That's proprioception, your body's awareness of its own position and movement. We also have thermoception for sensing temperature, hot or cold, and nociception for feeling pain. The human sensory experience is far richer and infinitely more complex than just those basic 5. Teaching otherwise leaves students with an incomplete picture of their own incredible physiology. Myth number 2. Lightning never strikes twice. Think again. This one's a comforting myth, often repeated in classrooms and even cartoons. The idea that lightning never strikes the same place twice. It sounds poetic, a little mystical, but in reality, tall structures like skyscrapers, radio towers, and broadcast antennas prove this myth spectacularly false with every single thunderstorm season. Take the iconic Empire State Building in New York City, for example. It's not just hit occasionally. It's struck by lightning an astonishing 20 to 25 times each year. Why? Because lightning follows the path of least resistance. If that means hitting the tallest, most conductive object, and that object happens to be a metal rod on top of a building, it absolutely will strike it again and again. Teaching otherwise leaves students with a dangerous misunderstanding of how weather and electrical charges actually work. This isn't just a quirky misconception, it's a potentially life-threatening one if you find yourself in the wrong place during a storm. Myth number 3. The Coriolis conundrum. Draining drains. Many geography and even some science lessons still cling to this persistent parlor trick. The story that water swirls down drains clockwise in the northern hemisphere and counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere. This idea often misapplies the Coriolis effect, a very real phenomenon that does influence large-scale weather systems, like hurricanes and ocean currents. However, the Coriolis effect simply isn't powerful enough to influence something as small as your kitchen sink or toilet. The direction water drains depends on far more mundane factors: the specific shape of the basin, the angle at which it's installed, and even leftover momentum from how it was filled or how you stirred the water. You might have seen demonstrations near the equator that appear to prove this effect, but those are invariably faked. Science shows the real-world impact of the Coriolis force just isn't strong enough at that tiny scale. It's a fun story, but it's not how physics works in your bathroom. Myth number 4. Dinosaurs, not the sluggish lizards you imagined. For decades, school textbooks painted a picture of dinosaurs as slow, lumbering, cold-blooded, oversized reptiles, basically, giant lizards. But modern paleontology has completely rewritten this prehistoric narrative. Today, we understand that many dinosaurs were likely warm-blooded, incredibly active, and even feathered. In fact, birds are now understood to be direct, living descendants of certain dinosaur lineages, sharing astonishing traits like hollow bones, complex nesting behaviors, and even specific types of feathers. Some dinosaur species probably maintained high body temperatures to support incredibly fast movement, complex social behaviors, and efficient hunting. This persistent misconception from outdated curricula robs students of the true wonder and dynamic nature of these ancient, awe-inspiring animals. Dinosaurs were far more intelligent, agile, and vibrant than you were ever taught. Myth number 5. The left brain, right brain personality myth. This one has fueled countless lessons, personality quizzes, and even career choices. The idea that logical, analytical people use their left brain more, while creative, intuitive people lean on their right brain. It's a beautifully tidy division, a simple way to categorize human potential. But neuroscience has thoroughly and completely debunked this simplistic notion. Modern brain imaging and extensive research show that both hemispheres of the brain work together for nearly every task we perform. Whether you're speaking, creating art, solving a complex math problem, or composing music, all these activities require incredibly complex cooperation and communication between both sides of your brain. While certain functions might be slightly more dominant in one hemisphere, no one is truly left-brained or right-brained in the way popular culture suggests. Keeping this myth alive doesn't just misrepresent brain function. It potentially limits how students perceive their own abilities and their potential for diverse skills. Your brain is a symphony, not a solo act. Myth number 6. Evolution, more than just a theory. And finally, perhaps the most stubbornly persistent and controversially taught misconception. Biology classes sometimes downplay evolution by describing it as just a theory, implying it is an unproven guess among many alternatives. This phrasing is not just misleading, it fundamentally misunderstands the language of science. In scientific language, a theory is not a guess. A scientific theory, a comprehensive explanation of some aspect of the natural world that is acquired through the scientific method and repeatedly confirmed through observation and experimentation. It is supported by an overwhelming mountain of evidence and rigorous testing, unlike a simple hypothesis. Evolution by natural selection is precisely that. It is the cornerstone of modern biology. It explains everything from the increasing resistance of bacteria to antibiotics, to the incredible diversity of life on Earth, to our own genetic makeup and predispositions. Presenting evolution as optional or unproven, or suggesting it's merely one of many equally valid viewpoints, leaves students ill-prepared to understand fundamental concepts in genetics, modern medicine, ecology, and even the future of humanity. Science education should reflect the overwhelming consensus on this fundamental and robust scientific concept. It's not a belief system, it's the bedrock of life sciences. Time for schools to catch up. It is both thrilling and humbling that science never stops evolving, constantly refining our understanding of the universe. And our classrooms, they should evolve alongside it. Holding on to these myths and misconceptions does a profound disservice to young minds eager to understand the world as it truly is. Outdated lessons might feel harmless in the moment, but they can subtly shape how future generations think, how they vote, and how effectively they solve complex problems. Schools owe their students the most accurate, up-to-date information available, not convenient half-truths from dusty textbooks. It's about fostering critical thinking, a respect for evidence, and a genuine understanding of how the world works. So, what other myths do you think deserve to be retired from classrooms right now? What outdated facts were you taught that you later discovered were completely wrong? We want to hear your thoughts and experiences. Drop a comment below and let us continue this conversation about how we can make education truly reflect the cutting edge of scientific discovery. If this video sparked your curiosity and made you question what you thought you knew, hit that like button, share it with teachers, students, and curious minds, and subscribe for more deep dives into science, education, and surprising truths. Your support helps us challenge misconceptions and champion accurate knowledge.